Quick like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. You know what's supposed to be admirable? When your wife decides to go back to school, taking online classes to advance her career, studying hard, working with a study partner to stay motivated. When she tells you she needs quiet time Tuesday and Thursday evenings to study with her study buddy, you're supposed to be supportive. Unless the classes ended 6 months ago. Unless the certificate she was working toward was completed in March and it's now September. Unless the study buddy she's been meeting with twice a week for the past 6 months has nothing to do with school and everything to do with the relationship she's been hiding under the cover of continuing education. My wife told me she was meeting her study buddy tonight, same as every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 10 months. Grant and I are working on our final project. Should be done by 9, except I checked her online portal last week. Her classes ended in March. She'd already received her certificate. There was no final project. There hadn't been any classes for 6 months, but there had been study sessions with Grant twice a week for the entire 6 months since her classes ended. Sessions that lasted 3 to 4 hours. Sessions she claimed were essential for her coursework that didn't exist anymore. My name is Steven. I'm 37 years old, and I work as an academic advisor at a university in Portland, Oregon. I spend my days helping students navigate degree requirements, tracking course completions, and understanding academic timelines. I know how online programs work, when classes start and end, what certificate completion looks like. I know exactly what it means when someone claims to be studying for classes they finished 6 months ago. I met Natalie 9 years ago at a friend's birthday party in downtown Portland. She was working as a nurse at OHSU Hospital, dedicated and hardworking in ways I admired. I was the academic advisor. She was the healthcare provider. We understood each other's commitment to helping people. We got married 7 years ago. Bought a house in the Selwood neighborhood, a renovated bungalow with a home office perfect for studying. Natalie continued in nursing, working rotating shifts at the hospital. I advanced to senior academic advisor. Combined income around $165,000. We were stable, supportive of each other's careers. For 6 years, everything seemed solid. We had our routines, our work schedules, our shared life. Natalie was always career-focused, always looking for ways to advance in nursing. Then last October, she announced she wanted to get her nurse practitioner certificate. There's an online program through OSU. 18 months, mostly self-paced, perfect for working nurses. I want to do it. That's great. I'm proud of you. What's the time commitment? Probably 10 to 15 hours a week. They recommend study groups to stay on track. I'll probably need quiet time in the evenings a few days a week. No problem. Whatever you need. She enrolled in November. Started classes in January. The program was legitimate. I looked it up. New OSU's online nursing programs were well regarded. In February, she mentioned finding a study partner. There's another nurse in the program, Grant. He's working at Legacy Emmanuel. We decided to study together. Keep each other accountable. Smart. Study groups definitely help. We're planning to meet Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Probably at coffee shops or the library. Just for a few hours. Sounds good. Starting in mid-February, Natalie established her study routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she'd leave the house around 6 p.m., come home around 9 or 10 p.m. Laptop bag, textbooks, study materials. The full student setup. How's studying going? I'd ask. Good. Grant and I are making solid progress. The material is challenging, but we're keeping each other on track. Over the following months, the study sessions became sacred. Tuesday and Thursday evenings were always blocked off. Natalie wouldn't schedule anything else. Wouldn't skip sessions. Completely committed to her study routine. Can we do dinner Thursday? I'd ask occasionally. Can't. I have my study session with Grant. Maybe Friday. I supported it. Education requires dedication. If Natalie needed those evenings to focus, I'd respect that. The program was supposed to be 18 months. January start meant completion in June of the following year. But Natalie had mentioned the program was self-paced. Students could finish faster if they worked hard. In March, just 14 months into the 18-month program, Natalie mentioned she was almost done. Grant and I have been pushing hard. We're actually ahead of schedule. Should finish next month. That's impressive. You've been working so hard. April came and went. May arrived. Natalie was still having her Tuesday/Thursday study sessions. I thought you were finishing in April. I asked in mid-May. We extended a bit. Want to make sure we're completely prepared for the final certification exam. When's the exam? End of May. And after that, no more Tuesday/Thursday study sessions. Well, we'll probably still meet up occasionally. Grant's become a good friend. But yeah, the intensive studying will be done. Late May, Natalie came home one evening excited. I passed. I'm officially certified. That's amazing. Congratulations. I hugged her, genuinely proud. Grant passed too. We celebrated with coffee after we got our results. You've both worked so hard. I'm proud of you. Thanks. It's been a lot of work, but totally worth it. I expected the study sessions to end. She completed the program, passed the certification exam, achieved her goal. But the Tuesday/Thursday routine continued. First week of June, meeting Grant tonight. We're going over some advanced material. Want to stay sharp. Second week of June, study session with Grant. Going over case studies that didn't make it into the curriculum. Third week of June, Grant and I are reviewing best practices. Still helpful to have a study partner, even post-certification. By July, I started wondering why they were still meeting twice a week. The program was done. The certification was complete. What were they studying? What exactly are you and Grant working on now? I asked one Thursday evening in mid-July as she prepared to leave. Just staying current. Reviewing new research, discussing case studies. It's good to have someone to bounce ideas off. But you're not in classes anymore. Right, but continuing education is important in nursing. Grant and I keep each other updated on new developments. It seemed excessive, meeting twice a week for continuing education, but Natalie was dedicated. Maybe this was just her commitment to staying current in her field. August passed. September arrived. Still, every Tuesday and Thursday, Natalie left at 6 p.m. to meet Grant. Then last week, I did something I probably should have done months ago. I logged into Natalie's student portal. She'd given me the login information back in January when she started the program. I was listed as her emergency contact and support person, standard for online students. I pulled up her academic records. Looked at her completion date. Certificate in Nurse Practitioner Studies. Completion date, March 22nd. Status, complete. Final grade, 3.87 GPA, March 22nd. 6 months ago. She completed the program in March, but she told me in May that she was finishing. Had told me the exam was end of May. Had acted like April and May were still intensive study months. And for the entire 6 months since March, April, May, June, July, August, September, she continued having study sessions with Grant every Tuesday and Thursday. 26 weeks. 52 study sessions. For a program she'd already completed. I checked her course history. The last assignment she'd submitted was March 18th. The last exam was March 20th. Everything after that was marked no current enrollment. Natalie had been lying about active coursework for 6 months. Had been leaving the house twice a week to study with Grant when there was nothing to study. I needed to understand what was actually happening during these sessions. Tuesday evening, I told Natalie I had a work event. Won't be home until late. Some reception for a visiting scholar. Mandatory attendance. Okay, I have my study session with Grant anyway. See you around 10. I left at 5:30 p.m., same time as Natalie. She headed south toward the Starbucks she usually claimed as her study location. I followed at a distance. Except she didn't go to Starbucks. She drove to a residential neighborhood in southeast Portland. Pulled up in front of a small house. Used a key to let herself inside. She had a key to a house where she was supposedly studying. I parked down the street. Waited. At 6:47 p.m., a man arrived. Mid-30s, athletic build, wearing scrubs. He parked in the driveway, walked to the front door, let himself in with his own key. Grant, presumably, the study buddy, coming home to the house where Natalie had let herself in 47 minutes earlier. I waited 3 hours. Watched the house. Saw lights on, curtains drawn, no movement outside. At 9:52 p.m., the door opened. Natalie came out, walked to her car, drove away. I waited. The man, Grant, didn't come out. He stayed inside because it was his house, where Natalie had spent 4 hours on a Tuesday evening doing something that definitely wasn't studying for classes that ended in March. I drove home, got there before Natalie was sitting in the living room when she walked in at 10:08 p.m. Hey, how was the reception? Boring. How was studying? Productive. Grant and I covered a lot of material. What material specifically? Oh, we're reviewing ICU protocols. Complex stuff. Takes time to work through all the scenarios. Where did you study tonight? Usual Starbucks on Hawthorne. The one that closes at 8 p.m.? She paused. We moved to the library after Starbucks closed. Which library? Selwood. Why all the questions? Just curious about your study routine. You've been so dedicated. Twice a week for 10 months now. Well, the material is important. Your classes ended in March. She went completely still. What? I checked your student portal. Completion date, March 22nd. 6 months ago. You've been telling me you're studying for classes that ended half a year ago. I was going to tell you. Tell me what? That you've been lying about studying? That you've been leaving the house twice a week for 6 months to do something you've been calling study sessions when there's no studying happening. It's not what you think. I followed you tonight. You didn't go to Starbucks. You went to a house in Southeast Portland. Let yourself in with a key. Grant showed up an hour later. You stayed for 4 hours. That's not studying. She started crying. Stephen, how long have you been sleeping with Grant? We're not. It's not like that. How long? We're just friends. You have a key to his house. You spend 4 hours there twice a week. You've been lying about studying for 6 months. That's not friendship. She sank onto the couch. It started in March, right after we finished the program. So the moment you completed the actual coursework, you started the affair. It wasn't planned. We'd been studying together for 2 months, spending so much time together. We connected. After the program ended, we didn't want to stop seeing each other. So you lied. Pretended you were still in classes. Continued the study session routine as cover for seeing Grant twice a week. I didn't know how to tell you. You've had 6 months to tell me. Instead, you've been going to his house every Tuesday and Thursday, letting me believe you were working on certification that you already completed in March. I pulled out my phone, showed her the student portal screenshot. Completion date, March 22nd. Every study session since then, April, May, June, July, August, September, has been a lie. I'm sorry. Are you in love with him? She looked at the floor. Didn't answer. That's what I thought. I pulled out divorce papers I prepared with my attorney that afternoon. I called immediately after following Natalie to Grant House. I'm filing for divorce. You've been having an affair for 6 months. Used your education as cover. Lied about studying for classes you'd already completed. Our marriage is over. Where am I supposed to go? Go to Grant. You've been spending 8 hours a week at his house anyway. You have a key. Make it permanent. What about my stuff? Pack what you need tonight. Come back this weekend for the rest when I'm not here. She tried to argue. Tried to claim the relationship with Grant wasn't serious and she could end it. But I was done listening to lies. She packed a bag. Left around midnight. I sat in our living room, looking at the home office where Natalie had supposedly been preparing for her Tuesday/Thursday study sessions for 6 months. The textbooks on the shelf. The notebook with NP certification notes on the cover. All props for a story about studying that had ended in March. The divorce moved forward quickly. Natalie tried to argue the affair only started after the classes ended, as if that made the 6 months of lying acceptable. My attorney presented the evidence. Student portal showing completion in March. 6 months of study sessions after completion. Natalie having a key to Grant's house. Her admission that the relationship started in March and continued twice weekly through September. Mrs. Hayes used her educational pursuits as cover for an affair, my attorney argued. She completed her certification in March, but continued claiming she was studying through September to justify twice weekly meetings with her affair partner. This demonstrates systematic, deliberate deception over 6 months. We also obtained Grant's statement. He confirmed the relationship had been ongoing since March, that Natalie had a key to his house, that she visited every Tuesday and Thursday evening. Natalie had no defense. The evidence was overwhelming and timeline-specific. We settled after 7 weeks. I kept the house. Natalie got 25% of joint accounts. No spousal support. 7 years of marriage ended because of study sessions that continued 6 months after the classes ended. I heard Natalie and Grant try to make the relationship work openly. Lasted about 5 months. Turned out the twice-weekly affair that felt exciting when secret wasn't the same as actually living together and building a real relationship. The structured Tuesday/Thursday routine lost its appeal when it wasn't forbidden anymore. About a year later, I met someone at an academic conference. Her name was Michelle, continuing education coordinator. Understood program timelines, completion dates, and honest communication. On our 4th date, she asked about my divorce. My wife went back to school for her nurse practitioner certificate, took online classes, had a study buddy she met with twice a week. The program ended in March. The study sessions continued through September. Michelle looked confused. She kept studying after finishing the program. She kept meeting her study buddy Grant twice a week. Except they weren't studying. The classes had ended 6 months earlier. She was having an affair and using the study sessions as cover. What did you find out? Checked her student portal. Saw the completion date was March 22nd. She'd been claiming to study for classes that ended half a year ago. Then I followed her to one of her study sessions. She went straight to Grant's house. Had a key. Stayed 4 hours. She had a key to his house. And a routine. Every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 months after her certification was complete. She'd leave at 6, come home at 10, tell me about the material they'd covered. All eyes. The only thing they were working on was their relationship. We've been together 12 months. Michelle is actually taking online classes now, a certification in her field. I help her study sometimes. Real studying. For real classes. With actual completion dates we both know. My wife's study buddy for her online classes. Her classes ended 6 months ago. March 22nd. Certificate complete. Program finished. But the study sessions continued. Every Tuesday. Every Thursday. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Meeting Grant, her study buddy, for classes that didn't exist. To study material she'd already completed. To work on projects that weren't assigned. For 6 months. 26 weeks. 52 sessions. At Grant's house, where she had a key, where they definitely weren't studying. The study sessions that outlasted the studies. By half a year. Because they were never about education. Just deception. Hidden under textbooks. And academic schedules. That ended in March. While the affair continued. Through September. Every Tuesday. Every Thursday. The study buddy. Who became the boyfriend. The moment the classes ended. And the lies began.